Confident, engaging, and slightly suspenseful, the tone should be like a high-quality documentary, curious and authoritative. Citius, altius, fortius. Faster, higher, stronger. For over a century, this has been the motto of the Olympic Games. It is the ultimate celebration of human potential, a test of spirit, discipline, and raw physical power. But what happens when that test is no longer just human? What happens when the gear an athlete wears, the technology they use, becomes more important than the athlete themselves? When does innovation cross the line into what many call technological doping? The Olympic committees have faced this question time and time again, and in some cases, the technology was so revolutionary, so reality-bending, that they had only one choice: ban it. Today, we are exploring 5 technologies so advanced they were banned from the Olympics. The year is 2008. The location, Beijing's water cube. The world is watching Michael Phelps on his historic quest for 8 gold medals. But as the games unfolded, it became clear something else was happening. Records weren't just being broken, they were being obliterated. The culprit? A swimsuit. Specifically, the Speedo LZR Racer. This wasn't just fabric. Developed in part by NASA, the LZR was a marvel of engineering. It was made of hydrophobic, paper-thin polyurethane panels, ultrasonically welded together to eliminate seams. It compressed the swimmer's body into a perfect hydrodynamic tube. But its most controversial secret was how it handled the air. The polyurethane panels were so effective at repelling water and trapping air that they made swimmers inhumanly buoyant. They floated higher in the water, reducing drag to an almost unbelievable degree. The results were insane. At the Beijing Olympics, 94% of all swimming races were won by athletes wearing the LZR. 98% of all new world records were set in these suits. It wasn't a competition of athletes anymore. It was a competition of swimsuits. Rival coaches and swimmers who didn't have access to the tech were furious. They called it technological doping. By 2009, FINA, swimming's governing body, had no choice. They banned all non-textile full-body suits, effectively exiling the LZR Racer to the history books just 18 months after its debut.
On October 12, 2019, in Vienna, the world watched the impossible happen. Eliud Kipchoge, the greatest marathoner in history, ran 26.2 miles in 1 hour, 59 minutes, and 40 seconds. He shattered the mythical 2-hour barrier. He was, of course, wearing a prototype of the Nike Alpha Fly. This event, while not an official world record, was the climax of a technological arms race that had been building for years, starting with the Nike Vaporfly. The magic wasn't just one thing, it was a system. First, a new ultra-light, ultra-responsive foam called Pebax. This foam didn't just cushion, it returned energy, giving back more than 80% of the force put into it. Second, hidden inside that foam was the real game changer, a curved, rigid carbon fiber plate. This plate acted like a spring or a lever. With every step, it loaded with energy and then snapped back, propelling the runner forward. It didn't just make running easier, it fundamentally changed the biomechanics of a stride, reducing the energy cost of running by a staggering 4% or more. In the marathon, 4% is not a marginal gain, it's an eternity. Competitors cried foul. They argued the shoe was a form of mechanical assistance, no different than putting springs in your soles. After months of debate, World Athletics intervened. They didn't ban the shoes outright, But they banned any new prototypes. They set a strict limit: only one carbon plate and a maximum foam stack height of 40 millimeters. The age of the super shoe was here, but its most extreme and advanced variations were, for all intents and purposes, banned from official competition.
Rewind to the 1992 Barcelona Olympics. British cyclist Chris Boardman, a relative unknown, prepares for the 4,000-meter individual pursuit. He wheels his bike onto the track, and the world collectively gasps. It was the Lotus Type 108. It didn't look like a bicycle. It looked like a weapon. Designed in secret by an aerospace engineer and the Lotus Formula One team, the 108 was a single molded piece of carbon fiber. A monocoque frame with no top tube, no seat tube, no down tube. Just a sleek, aerodynamic Z-shape. It featured a single-bladed fork for the front wheel and a sculpted rear wheel integrated into the frame. Boardman didn't just ride this bike. He combined it with another radical idea: the Superman position, developed by his coach, Peter Keane. Boardman stretched out horizontally, his arms fully extended, creating the smallest possible aerodynamic profile. The combination was devastating. Boardman didn't just win the gold medal, he annihilated the world record and caught his German opponent in the final, an almost unheard-of feat. The bike was so superior, it caused a panic. The UCI, cycling's governing body, saw a future they hated: an arms race where only the richest teams and nations could afford to compete. They feared the sport would become a battle of engineers, not athletes. So they passed the Lugano Charter. They banned monocoque frames, banned the Superman position, and created a template for what a traditional bicycle must look like. The Lotus Superbike, one of the beautiful and fastest machines ever built, was retired from the Olympics forever. We're only just getting started, and already you can see how fine the line is between innovation and an unfair advantage. If you love discovering these hidden histories in sports, the controversies, the engineering, and the drama, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. We post new videos every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Not all banned tech is sleek and expensive. Sometimes it's just weird. In 1977, a small-time German inventor named Werner Fischer created the spaghetti racket. It looked like a normal tennis racket, but its stringing was chaotic. It used two separate sets of strings, one for vertical and one for horizontal, held apart by plastic tubes. They weren't interwoven. This bizarre setup allowed the strings to move independently, and the effect it had on a tennis ball was borderline supernatural. When a player hit the ball with topspin, the strings would grab it, slide apart, and then violently snap back, imparting a level of spin that was previously impossible. We're not talking about a little more topspin. We're talking about balls that would hit the court and change direction at 90-degree angles. Balls that would bounce over an opponent's head from the service line. Professionals were baffled. Guillermo Vilas, one of the world's best, lost to a low-ranked player using it and immediately bought 20 of them. The great Bjorn Borg allegedly tried it and refused to ever play against it. It didn't reward skill, it rewarded chaos. The International Tennis Federation realized this spaghetti stringing would destroy the sport. Within a year, they held an emergency meeting and banned it completely, citing that a racket cannot impart more spin than is conventional. Confident, engaging, and slightly suspenseful. The tone should be like a high-quality documentary, curious and authoritative. Suits, shoes, bikes, these are all external. But the final, most terrifying piece of banned Olympic technology isn't something you wear. It's something you become. I'm talking about gene doping. This is the nightmare scenario for the World Anti-Doping Agency, or WADA. Using technologies like CRISPR, it is theoretically possible to permanently edit an athlete's DNA. You could insert a gene to produce more EPO, giving you superhuman endurance. You could alter genes to build muscle faster or increase your pain tolerance. Unlike steroids or blood transfusions, gene doping leaves almost no trace. How do you test for a gene that your body is now programmed to have? How do you differentiate between a natural genetic gift and one that was inserted in a lab? It's permanent, it's undetectable, and it's no longer science fiction. WADA has already banned all forms of gene and cell doping, placing it at the top of their prohibited list. They are in a desperate race against rogue scientists trying to find a way to detect the undetectable. Because the technology that could create the first genetically modified Olympian is already here, and it represents the ultimate ban. A technology banned not because it ruined a sport, but because it challenges the very definition of what it means to be human.
From polyurethane suits to carbon fiber plates and the haunting potential of our own DNA, the battle for the soul of the Olympics rages on. The line between innovation and an unfair advantage is razor thin, and these technologies were banned not because they failed, but because they succeeded too well. They threatened to turn the world's greatest test of humanity into a cold race of engineers. And now, we want to hear from you. Which of these technologies do you think was banned unfairly? Was the Lotus bike just brilliant engineering? And what future tech do you think will be the next big Olympic controversy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.